Well, I was originally not going to record a video for today, but Kylan being a problem has made me have to just do this. I called out Frenchie in the first week when he was being problematic and saying Kylan was aggressive when he was being nothing of the sort. I called out Brent and all his creepiness with Hannah that was going on and him just being a creep in fucking general. I held that same energy last week for Tiffany when she was problematic many times last week. And now I have to hold that same energy for bitch boy Kyland. I think Kyland has definitely shown some of his true colors in this HOH, that he's manipulative and whatever. It's a game, he's manipulative. But he's also showing that players in these big alliances are always become problematic. It was Tiffany last week, it's Kylan this week. I was even going to possibly bring up another subject that maybe is controversial, but unlike CBS, I'm not afraid of talking about race issues or racial issues. They won't even show the cookout to the white players that are evicted first, probably because they tend to cast ignorant white players. They don't want them to say something. But who knows really the reasons why. They've handled race relations very poorly on Big Brother for a decade. But I do just find it odd how Azah. Well, first, let's go back. That most seasons it's a Black woman who is being secluded in the house, and even this season with a Black alliance, somehow a Black woman is being secluded from the house, and I just think it's because she is different than the rest of the Black people in this game. She is African, and Americans, no matter the race, we are all fucking ignorant. Which brings me to Kyland. Kyland in the wee hours of the morning in one of his usual early hour bullshits was talking about Azah's attitude, but had to bring up her being African, as if Kyland knows anything about being fucking African. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know anything about being fucking African either. But Kyland making these large assumptions that she comes from a wealthy family from Africa, and that's why she just needs things her way or something, basically was the gist of what he was saying. And a dark skinned Black woman from Africa doesn't go through hardships in America. What the fuck is he even talking about? He's definitely showing his ignorant side come fucking completely. And Kyland already has past tweets. I was going to include him in this video, but I don't really feel like spending the time on this video to do that. But he's had past tweets about Black women on Big Brother, basically saying Kemi in season 21 kind of brought shit on herself, which is just bullshit. And he also has a tweet from the past about Big Brother about how he basically doesn't see the problem with the casting of minorities. Well, let me tell you something, you fucking crybaby bitch, Kyland. If you were on a season with a bunch of white people, Kyland, you would have been the first boot because he was on the block this first week. And if it was a usual Big Brother cast, a white person would have won the veto and would have left noms the same, and Kyland's ass would have been first fucking boot. So I think Kyland just has a really bad history of bad takes, and bringing up Azah's African heritage as a reason to act like that's why she is so emotional and needy and usually gets things her way is just stupid. And the subject I thought about talking about, and if anybody actually wants to discuss it, I am open to discussing it, is the fact that this Black Alliance still has secluded and gaslit a black woman, because that is what has happened a lot with Azah in this game. Azah has benefited the least from the Cookout Alliance because they have just left her in the dark about a lot of things. And then they don't take her fucking seriously when she's just trying to help most of the time, but she's not in the know. I think it speaks that Derek X's HOH has been the only HOH so far outside of maybe, well, no, because Frenchie was a mess. So outside of Derek X, that is the only HOH where Azah had a lot of info about what was actually happening. And I do think that is why Azah and Derek X actually connect on a deeper level, is because of their own heritages being what they are. And I think that's why they still have the deepest personal connection in the house. On a game level, it's not really working, but on a personal level, they have that deep connection. And I think that's why. But I do think we need to face some facts about the Cookout Alliance. But I don't know if that's a subject I feel like talking about just yet. I'll give them the rest of the week, because today Xavier tried to be a bridge between Azah and Tiffany. He did an okay job. I mean, there were times when, once again, he was just taking Tiffany's side and nobody's really, they're just basically trying to put a lot of shit on Azah when Tiffany can't always admit to her own fucking faults because she's a Leo. And I knew from the beginning this was probable. But I do like that Xavier at least tried to do this. It seemed like it ended on a good note. We'll see how long it lasts. But I mean, at this point, just hand Xavier the game. It's fine. I'm fine with Xavier winning. He's played a really safe game up to this point, but he like has all the connections. There is Hannah and Tiffany talking about bringing Xavier to the final three, and then there's Derek F and Azah talking about bringing Xavier to the final three. I mean, for anybody watching the online survivor game, Online Survival 3 on this channel, he can pull a Patented fan guy and just be at the bottom of those two alliances, get to the end with either person, and probably get the votes to win. But anybody in the Cookout winning, other than a Kyland, I think would be a good representation for the first black winner of Big Brother. Kyland, I think he's gross. I mean, it's bad enough that he is actually gross in the house and barely showered while he had those donkey costumes on. I might just call him horse shit from here on out, because I think that's probably how he smells. According to Derek F, he probably does. The other big things that happened today, Claire and Derek X actually made a joke that what if all the black players are working together? They laughed about it and said, well, they would have had to just say on the first day that they're an alliance, but they can never meet again. Kind of basically almost what happened. I mean, not really, but they all met separately and talked about it that first week. But I mean, they're joking about it, but I think at this point, nobody sees it. Like Christian said in his extended exit interviews on podcasts, that he never saw them in the same room together, and that's why it's working so well. The only other thing, Derek X kind of finally apologized to Hannah for never listening to her, but it's progress. I'll just say that for now. And then lastly, I stopped watching before he even started. Kyland's going to be asking questions to people again tonight. Don't care about listening to his convoluted messes again. Yeah, I think it feels like he's maybe considering backdooring Derek X now, according to his short little talk with Derek F. But who knows? I ain't watching. I ain't gonna speculate what Kyland's bitch ass, dumbass, horse shit ass is going to do.